Here's a look at the match stats. Everton with a crucial 3 points in their battle to try and survive, as we welcome in Frank Lampard now. Looking back on this game...
Oh, Shaq's taken a few in the face over the years. Can't you tell? Like Jordan Pickford. No?
But the emotion and the drama in this game, and we saw what it meant to all those home fans at the end of it.
It came from the crowd at the start, and that resonated to the players, the Everton players, who have seen the results go against them. And I heard Shaq talking yesterday in the show about, and I totally agree, it's all very well having games in hand, but we've all, every one of us who have at times struggled down the bottom, it's just about points. And then you've got a loss of form, no confidence, you're at home, okay, that should be some help, sometimes it's not, depending on the pressure, against a side who, they're not playing brilliantly, but they're still a much stronger side. So it had to be a perfect scenario for Lampard's team, and I thought they got the energy from the crowd, and they pressed, and the question was, can they do that for 90 minutes? But they kept going, pounced on a mistake. And then the other bonus for them was that Chelsea are a team at times who'll just possess the ball for fun, but have no real natural clinical edge to their game. Okay, and a couple of times Jordan Pickford had to make some superb saves. We've just seen them on the replays. But it was a terrific response from Everton at a time when they were in a period of desperation at the moment, which they are. But this Chelsea side, you know, I don't know. You've only got Mason Mount and double figures on 10, and you've got Lukaku who never even come off the bench. It's crystal clear that they're going to go out and replenish the front line in the summer, for me, given whatever the hell's going to happen with takeovers and whenever the hell that's going to be finalised. I don't know. But the money, and part of the money, is they're going to have to go and sort that front line out, because there's no point having that amount of possession and just not having an end product. It's just not going to get you over the line more often than not.
And with that in mind, Everton fully deserving then of that win today?
Absolutely, yes. And for a number of reasons. One, let me just say, as far as Chelsea is concerned, Craig's absolutely right. Vinen and Havertz today, I thought were disappointing. Seeing that Jordan Pickford was the man of the match, no real surprise there. We're talking about one team third top, one team third bottom. But, and Craig also touched on this, when you're down the bottom, a lot of times playing at home is far more difficult than playing away, because you're not playing well and because you're struggling, and we've all been there. And then to see the crowd at Goodison respond from the opening whistle as they did, to invoke that kind of emotion into the game as they did, and I thought the team responded, and it became this emotional battle which served Everton far better. And then and for me, they were deserving of the 3 points for that, because they're the ones who rose to the occasion. Yes, Pickford was the man of the match and incredible saves, but this was about a struggling Everton team who responded in the moment against a team that is sitting third top, and really, despite their possession, I don't think lived up to some of their own expectations.
Even as a Chelsea man, Frank, you can't begrudge Everton that win, can you?
Well, you know what? I would say that I agree with Craig. The fact that Chelsea wants to possess the ball for 80%, but didn't have a chance or didn't have a shot on target the first half. So I have to say that you cannot deny the fact that the team wanted the most to win, won that game. You play at Goodison Park, you know the pressure you can have when you play away from home, and I did so many times. It was so hard to win over there. It's a fight. The Everton players were on the survival mode, where I think the Chelsea players, as all season long, tried to play well, tried to be perfect, tried to be clean, where in front of them they had players ready to play dirty. And that's what it is when you want to survive. Mina explained the world to Havertz in that matter in the Premier League when you want to survive. And Havertz fell into the trap instead of going away a little bit, tried to be a little bit smarter in that matter to avoid Mina and avoid that fight. But I agree, Chelsea did well for 80% of the game, 80% of the plays, but as all season long couldn't finish the job, where Everton were trying to survive and did very well.
And talking about doing very well, this is where we start to see with Frank Lampard the other side of being a manager, getting the fans behind the team, ensuring that you get that battle cry to those players. Did he succeed in doing that today then?
Absolutely. And as Frank just touched on there, it was a scrappy game for long periods. Referee had to get involved. There was bookings. There was arguments between captains, Seamus Coleman, Azpilicueta. Exactly what Everton wanted, try and disrupt Chelsea's game. Look, if the game was played up to the edge of the penalty box, Chelsea would be in this title race, but it's not, and that's something they're going to have to figure out. But from Frank Lampard's point of view, and I don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of the season, but if they do go over the line and stay up, the message I think he'll be sending to the fans is this won't happen again. This recruitment, this buying and spending almost as much money as some of the big teams, or so-called big teams, and being in this position, that's a problem. And we talked about Carlo Ancelotti earlier, at Real Madrid manager, who was managing Everton last year. I don't think they'd be in this position if Carlo Ancelotti was manager, but I don't think there would be anything further than sort of a few places above or mid-table, which tells you all you need to know about this squad. But a huge day. I know one man who's probably happy, Don Hutchinson somewhere, who was probably sitting there.
He was on the call, I think, today.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
He got very emotional.
The last 10, 15 minutes of Don Hutch on that call, because every Everton fan, and I know Don's very passionate about Everton, one of the several clubs that he played for, but whenever the camera cut to those supporters at the end and the 7 minutes went up, you can feel. Yeah. You can sense and feel the agony and the desperation, and your one bit of brilliance or your one mistake from somebody away from potentially, heading to the Championship. Lots of football to play, extra game left for Everton, but unbelievable result in the circumstances.
So let's look at that. What's ahead then, shall we? At the bottom of the table, Norwich City already down, Watford seemingly not far behind them. So you're looking at Everton, Leeds and Burnley, the three that are the most in danger. Burnley have turned things around though. Yeah,
Mike Jackson in there, after Sean Dyche left. Is it 10 points
10 from 12? 10 from a possible 12, yeah.
I now worry for Leeds United because I was looking at the fixtures, but also looking at the squads. Stuart Dallas now out for them. They had Phillips has just come back from he was a huge miss. Bamford's been out. They lost Cooper, I think, yesterday in the warm-up. They've got a bunch of kids. They've had a ravished injury season, and their fixtures, in my opinion, are slightly more difficult. You've got Burnley, who've got Villa to play twice because of the COVID problems in Newcastle. But Leeds, Arsenal, big win for them today. Chelsea, that's a tough game for them. Brighton wallop Wolves and are in the top half. And then you're at Brentford in the last day. I don't know about you, Shaq, but I'm kind of thinking, looking at those fixtures, Leeds are in the biggest trouble.
Here's the hard part. You're looking at those fixtures to come. You're looking at the form of everybody else, and Leeds lose to City this weekend. Before that, 3 wins and 2 draws in their last 5 under Jesse Marsch. So they come into City game apart, they come into this run-in with a bit of form, as have Burnley. As Everton, I think this was a huge result, not just because of who the opposition was, but just them kind of responding to the emotion of the situation. And it becomes very difficult to call for that reason, because all these teams come into these run-ins in some form. And as we keep saying, you're down the bottom for a reason, because you don't win very many games. So you look at the fixture list and you try to decide which is the toughest. But the fact of the matter is, you're the worst of the bunch. So you go into almost every single game regardless as being an underdog.
And then there's the goal difference for Leeds, which understandably is worse than the other two.
And I get what Jesse Marsch was doing yesterday, for those that saw it. And I don't know if there's been a response to it. After being walloped by City, which is no shame, the fans at Leeds apparently were magnificent behind the team from start to finish. Probably knew what was coming. And he was sort of winding them up at the end and appreciating it. And I know some people might say, and I don't know, I haven't seen any opinions on it, but maybe some people think that's an over-the-top reaction. But what I think he's trying to do is garnish that energy from the supporters who are not booing their team, who understand that Bielsa did some magic and got them up, but they haven't really spent any money. They've used kids for a long time. They didn't get games called off when they had the COVID issues, middle of the season. Played a lot of games with kids, and now he's trying to use that energy from the supporters to keep behind him, similar to Frank Lampard in a sense at Everton. So I kind of got what Jesse Marsch was doing yesterday, but I just think their predicament with their squad is really, now that Everton have got these 3 points today, is going to be a very difficult one.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.